Hey everyone, let's talk about Python lists. Specifically, how do we add stuff to them? It sounds simple, but getting it right is key. If you've ever found yourself needing to make a list bigger or change it on the fly, you're in the right place. We're going to cover the essential tools to do this like a pro.
So here's what we've got on deck. First, we'll touch on why Python lists are so cool and dynamic. Then, we'll jump into the big three methods: append, insert, and extend. And to wrap it all up, we'll figure out when to use which one. Simple as that.
Okay, so let's get right into it. Before we even start talking about how to add things, let's ask a more basic question. Why can we? What is it about Python lists that makes them so, well, changeable? It's a really important concept that makes them super powerful.
And here's the answer. Unlike some things in programming that are fixed and rigid, Python lists are alive. They're meant to be dynamic. Think of them like a shopping cart. You can put things in, take things out, rearrange them, all while you're still shopping. That flexibility is exactly what makes them one of the most useful tools in Python.
Okay, now that we get why lists can change, let's grab our first tool from the toolbox. This is the one you're going to use probably 90% of the time. It's called appending, and it's your go-to for adding one single thing to a list. Seriously, append is as straightforward as it gets. Its entire job is to take whatever you give it and stick it on the very end of the list. That's it. It's like telling the next person who shows up, hey, just go to the back of the line.
All right, let's look at some code. We start with a list: apple, banana, cherry. Simple enough. Then we run thislist.appendOrange. Now, pay close attention to what happens here. Python doesn't make a copy of the list and then add the new fruit. Nope, it changes the original list directly. We call that an in-place change, and it's super efficient. Orange just gets tacked right onto the end.
Okay, so append is great for adding to the end. But what if you don't want to add to the end? What if you need to cut in line, Put something right in the middle, or even at the beginning. For that, we need something with a little more surgical precision.
And that's where the insert method saves the day. It's totally different from append. With insert, you get to be the boss. You tell it the exact spot, the index where you want your new item to go.
So here's how you use it. It takes two pieces of information. First, you give it the index, the where. Remember, Python lists start counting at 0, so index 1 is the second spot. Then you give it the item, the what. And then Python does all the heavy lifting. It just scoots everything else over to make room. Pretty cool, right? Check this out. We start with our apple, banana, cherry list again. We tell it, insert at index 1 the word orange, and boom! Apple stays put at index 0. Orange slides right into index 1. And what happened to banana and cherry? They just got bumped down the line to make space. It's that simple.
Okay, so we can add one item at the end. We can add one item anywhere we want. But what if you have a whole bunch of items you want to add all at once? That's when we need to bring out the heavy machinery.
Let's set up a scenario here. You've got your main list of fruits on the left, and then over on the right, you've got this whole other list of tropical fruits. The goal? We want to merge them. We want to take everything from the tropical list and dump it into our main list.
This is a job for the extend method. See how it works? You take your first list, this list, and you call .extend. Then you just hand it the entire tropical list. And look at the result. It takes each item from tropical, mango, pineapple, papaya, and adds them one by one to the end of our original list. It's like pouring one bucket of water into another.
But wait, there's more. This is where extend gets really interesting. It's not just for lists. It's way, way more flexible than that.
You see, extend can work with any iterable. Now, that's just a programmery word for a collection of stuff. So you can extend your list using a tuple or a set, even a dictionary. Now, quick heads up, if you give it a dictionary, it's just going to grab the keys, not the values. But still, that's incredibly versatile. So we've got 3 tools in our belt now: append, insert, and extend. The million-dollar question is, when do you use which? Let's break it down so it's super clear and you'll always know which one to grab.
Okay, think of this table as your cheat sheet. It's really simple. If you need to add just one thing to the end, append is your best friend. Need to add one thing, but in a very specific spot? That's a job for insert. And if you need to add a whole bunch of things from another collection, you're going to want to use extend. And here's the one thing you absolutely have to remember about all three of these methods. They all change the original list in place. They don't go off and create a new copy. This is a huge deal because it's way more efficient, it saves memory, and it's just good, clean Python coding.
And that's it. You're now equipped with 3 super useful tools for manipulating lists. You've got append for the easy stuff, insert for precision, and extend for bulk additions. They're simple, they're powerful, and they're ready to go. So the only question left is, what are you going to build with them?